Hey, everybody, welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and the topic today, Carolina football. The Tar Heels are in the midst of their second bye week in the last 3 weeks. They had one after the seventh game, then played at Virginia, won 41-14, then played at Florida State, won 35-11. Now their second bye week of the season. After that, home against Wake Forest, at Boston College, and home against NC State to close out the regular season. And I want to talk about that, but I want to talk about that by weaving in the reality of something that a lot of people don't really bring up, and I'm not sure fully gauge. Now, a few people of late, like on our message boards, have mentioned some of these things, and I think it's very important for all Carolina fans to understand when you're gauging the season, and when you're still hell-bent on the James Madison game, which I think is okay because it was a disgraceful look. Losing 4 in a row was a bad look. But I think it takes, right now, an open week, it takes a smart fan, an objective fan, an honest fan to step back and just take a look at some of the obstacles this team has had to overcome. And let me qualify this by saying I'm not saying these things to make a pitch for Mac Brown, his job security, or anything like that. That's not important to me right now. What I'm doing is I'm outlining the degree of things that this team, this program, has had to deal with this year. And it's pretty heavy duty. It's heavy stuff. I've covered this college football and college basketball for 29 years, my 29th season. I have not seen many seasons in which a program has had to endure what North Carolina football has this year. Before I get into it very quickly, a reminder, just $8.33 a month. You can be a Tar Heel insider too and hang out on a fantastic message board with a lot of thoughtful people, pretty respectful. Even when things get ugly, it's still pretty respectful. A lot of good thoughts on football, on Carolina basketball, which is fully underway right now. And, of course, you get all of our insight recruiting. You get David Sis stuff. You get football recruiting stuff. And a lot of our content is premium, so you have access to all of it. It's just $8.33 a month. You can be a Tar Heel insider too. Okay, here are the obstacles. Offensive line coach Randy Clements. I don't know how many fans fully understand how sick he was, and he's still sick. He's still dealing with complications, and he'll have to have more procedures done, so I'm told, in the spring or after the season. But they started fall camp without him for 8 days, I think it was. And if you consider the fact that they had 4 new starters on the offensive line, 3 guys who are brand new in the program starting, and you have youth and inexperience behind them, and your offensive line coach isn't there. I remember going to the first practice, like, where's Randy? We didn't know a whole lot for another week or so, and then a few weeks later, we learned a little bit more. But he went back he was in the hospital for the first 8 days. Then he had some complications, had to go back a couple times. My understanding is his wife goes to all the practices, watch him, make sure he's okay. He missed a game, coached another game from the booth. That's not where an offensive line coach wants to be or needs to be. Trust me. They need to be down there in the field, on the sideline, talking to the guys. And for a while, Carolina had Kyle Fuller, who just retired from the NFL, first-time coach, working with the kids. And Corey Gaynor, who was a starting center last season, he was handling the centers and guards. Fuller was handling the tackles. That's a lot to overcome. And there have been in and out a little bit with Clements during the course of this season. And this offensive line is getting better. He's been around more regularly the last few weeks, and the offensive line's getting better. And look at the production of the offense. It's top 25 offense in the country again. Max Johnson's injury. I cannot get into all the details of this for obvious reasons, but I know the details, or a lot of the details of his injury, and it was horrible. There's a reason it took 2 weeks for him to come back to Chapel Hill from Minneapolis. There were multiple surgeries. procedures done. There was a lot of concern there for a while, a lot of serious concern. And now it's uncertain if he'll ever walk properly again, much less play again. The kids see him. They see him around the Keaton Football Center now. He has a tough time sitting, has a tough time standing. That's going to affect kids. Not to mention the fact that he was their starting quarterback. He ran away from Connor Harrell in August, the starting quarterback. Didn't look great against Minnesota, but that doesn't mean that's what he would have been the entire season. The coaching staff thought he looked so good the last few weeks of August that they thought there was a real chance that he would only be in Chapel Hill 1 year. 2 years remaining, only be there 1 year and be off to the NFL. And he is a guy who had 47 touchdown passes, only 12 interceptions in the SEC. So not a bad player, but they lost him. Tylee Kraft's death. I think that a lot of us didn't fully grasp the meaning and the importance of Tylee to these other kids and the effect he had on them until he passed. I mean, I knew it was there. I've seen Tylee a lot over the years. We knew that there was a decline. We didn't know how serious it was until the Pittsburgh game. And then a week later, he was gone. But if you go back to the JMU game, he was an honorary captain for the coin toss. He's out on the field, walked out on the field on his own. 3 weeks later, he was gone. That affected these kids a lot. And it was fortunate for them under the circumstances to have an open week when he passed so they could deal with a lot of it. But the effect is significant. And a lot of them have done a very good job of trying to get positive from that, whatever positive there was. And I think it's strengthened this team. I know it's strengthened this team. I know it's brought them together more. The faith group has grown significantly the last few weeks. So they've had that obstacle too. Let's also add, going back to the Max Johnson connection, that Connor Harrell struggled so much that Jacoby Criswell replaced him during Harrell's second start. And let's not forget that Criswell was told he wasn't going to play this year. He came in 20 pounds overweight. He had a lot of stuff he had to work through just to get in position where he could take a snap in a game. And they gave him the keys. And we have watched him go from, oh my gosh, I'm playing, to that guy's not bad. That guy's pretty good. He's got some good moments. He still has a long way to go. But each week, you've seen tremendous improvement from him. If he can just start hitting that long ball, not overthrow it, it's going to change things. So they've had to deal with a third-string quarterback who showed up late in the summer, 20 pounds overweight, and was told he wasn't going to play this year. They said, get ready for spring. Get yourself in shape, get ready for spring. And he's a starting quarterback. And on top of that, they hear what people are saying about Mac. They read social media. They know the tenor around Mac's future and the kinds of things people are saying. A lot of it's not very nice. So they have had all that to deal with, and here they are in an open date, first week in November, 5-4. They've won 2 in a row. They have 3 games left, all very winnable games. And it's not out of the realm of possibility this team finishes 8-4. And I want to pose a question to all of you. All of you who have said Mac needs to go. And again, this is not a pitch for Mac Brown. This is just laying out the facts as they are and getting a gauge after putting these facts out there, what the anti-Mac crowd thinks. If they finish 8-4 and they win out their last 4, and let's remember, take away James Madison, horrible, embarrassing, disgraceful performance, which should sit at the top of the resume for this season or near the top of the resume. I think closing out winning your last 5 would supersede that. But 20-point lead at Duke, lost by 1. Okay, they blew a lead, but they were in position. They were tied with Pitt in the fourth quarter. They tied Georgia Tech inside the last minute. So there's one really nasty blemish on the schedule so far on the resume. Everything else is not nasty. They hadn't been super pretty, but it's not nasty. And if they finish 8-4 and they beat State, beat Wake, win at BC, beat State, with a third-string quarterback who was told he wasn't going to play and showed up 20 pounds overweight, with an offensive line coach who has been in serious health situations this year and in and out, intermittently coaching, the death of a loved teammate, and all the chatter about their coach, how would you view this season? How would you view the program, the shape the program is in? And what if they go on and win a bowl game and they finish 9-4? Everyone was hammering Mac, and there was not a whole lot of excitement going into the season because of how they closed the last 2 seasons. What if they flip it on its head this year? I'd love to hear from all UNC fans who are ready for a change if that would change how you feel about Mac and the direction of the program. Or have you made up your mind and it doesn't matter? I think it would be an amazing story if this team wins out, given the circumstances. I think it would be a fun story to cover. I'm not rooting for it to happen, although part of me says it would be really neat to see if they actually do finish 8-4 and beat State, maybe beat State soundly, what the negative Nancys are saying. I think that there's a curiosity factor there that I wouldn't mind satisfying. At the same time, that's not what I delve in. But I am asking you right now, the open week, 3 games left, would that change anything? Or do you have to wait and see how they win the 3 games, if they win the last 3, and then make up your mind then? Or what if they beat Wake, pound them, they go lose a close game at BC, and they've been very good on the road, by the way. I got a piece we ran Tuesday night about how good they've been on the road, and then they beat State, finished 7-5 after being 3-4. So that's winning 4 of your last 5. I think it's a fascinating scenario. And I think it's a fascinating scenario because of how a lot of fans might react to it. So I want to know what you guys think. Let us know on Facebook. Let us know on Twitter. Let us know on our message boards, our free and premium one. I'd prefer premium because then you can engage with a lot of people who are smart and care passionately about the Tar Heels like you do. And remember, it's only $8.33 a month. If you're excited about the possibility of Carolina finishing 8-4, winning its last 5 games, go ahead and click like on this video. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you get updates every time we upload. And come on back tomorrow. We got basketball pod tomorrow, kind of linking some neat stuff with Kansas. And I'm looking forward to being in Allen Fieldhouse this weekend. That's going to be quite a scene. And I'm looking forward to the last 3 Carolina football games to see what the ultimate story of this team is. I'm AJ, and I appreciate you stopping by.